Let's talk about communication. You have a strong presence on social media, very consistently posting, engaging content and putting it out there about what you're doing, your community, etc. Tell me, what communication means to you, some tips and tricks maybe for, I know you go to masterminds and other networking events. How do you approach communication?
Well, I mean, since I was a pup, since I was a young man, they always told me communication rules the nation. Once again, just like Boys in the Hood, I didn't know what they were talking about. I thought it was a slick verse. But as I grew, I realized that the one piece of currency that really outperforms almost any other one is great communication, the right communication.
Yeah.
And communicating like we're doing right now. I mean, for me, this is $1 million conversation to be able to sit down with you.
Appreciate you, man. Okay, so communicating is important.
Absolutely.
But tell me kind of what your strategy is for communicating and sort of how you're putting out content. Do you have a specific way that you like to communicate or you like to be communicated to?
Yeah, got you. So naturally, communication comes natural to me, fortunately.
Okay.
I've only been in detention in my life, never for fighting or anything, for always talking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so I knew that was...
I know something about that, bro.
Okay, so The interesting thing is I've been in trouble for it in high school, elementary school, so many times for talking. And then when I got into real estate investing and sales and business, that thing that was the pain point or the challenge for me became a strength.
100%.
And I was like, all right.
You were in training the whole time.
I was in training. Look, I'll take those licks of detention because it's paid 10 full.
All day.
All day. And twice on Sunday. So communicate.
Shout out to all your teachers out there that had to deal with us. Love and respect. Keep it up.
There we go. Much love. But for me, I understand, or at least I think I understand how social media works. Social media in some ways brings us more closer and then separates us in some ways. And so to be able to take my God-given abilities and my strengths and my authenticity, because everything I put on social media is real. It's really me, like it or hate it. So it definitely gives me a platform to work towards my strength and connect with people that I know, like, and trust. And also connect with people that I never would have met you had it not been for social media. I
Agreed.
would not be here.
That's awesome, man. Okay, let's talk about opportunity. One opportunity that sort of changed the course of your life. I know you mentioned the gentleman in Tracy. Another opportunity that you can think of.
Another opportunity I could think of that changed my life. I would have to think and say social media is cool. I would say this. One of the things that turned into an opportunity for me was my incarceration that I shared with you.
Yeah.
That was the opportunity for me. At first, initially it didn't seem, right? When I was 20, I got arrested and I had served a commitment for several years. But that turned into an opportunity because it put me in a place of desolation, a place of darkness, where I really had to do some reflection. So it's not like this big biblical story, but that stuff hurt.
Sure.
Right? And I think that what helped me grow the most is having to look at the truth, deal with the truth, experience the truth, and there's no ejection button. So go through those times away from my family and losing
stuck.
people. Right, stuck like Chuck.
Yeah.
And so that was very difficult, but I think Oprah Winfrey says that you turn your wounds into wisdom.
Sure.
I'd heard that years ago.
Yeah, we have a segment here that we're going to get into. So you feel like serving that time and doing that stretch ended up being, in hindsight, an opportunity for you to grow and to realize not to cherish more the opportunities in the world and really, really lean in. And I'm obviously, putting some words in your mouth, but
you're accurate. Though. You're accurate. I think to put a cherry on the top, I think that it taught me a lot about myself. But as I've grown in real estate, we talked about community, and I know we're going to get more into that. The driving purpose of me building community comes from understanding that there's information out there that sometimes we may not know based off our community, right? People we grow up with, like Boys in the Hood.
Our frame of reference.
Right, our frame of reference.
Yeah.
So leaving my city and going out to Stockton changed my frame of reference.
Sure.
And so it's very, very appealing to me to commit to wanting to change people's frames of reference, people that may experience, and it doesn't have to be incarceration, just may experience the inability to have the vision that they can do things and be a success in real estate or any form of investing.
Yeah, guys, so that is the reason why we have this pod, Skip the Lines. Make sure you download it and subscribe, like it, and send it to your friends. Jacob is speaking the exact words that have come out of my mouth many, many times. As you guys know, I'm a Section 8 welfare kid, raised by a single mother. Opened the fridge, there was baking soda. That's it. So I have experienced a lot of moments like that. It's not a sob story. God bless America, I'm here. God bless America, I can think, I can breathe, I can exercise, I can provide value to other people around me and to myself and my loved ones. But all that being said, I did have some help along the way. So Jacob is positioning himself to be able to do that, pass down that information, knowledge, encouragement, etc. to some people in the world that may not have it or need more of it. And so I am a product of that. And that's the reason why this podcast exists, to let you guys know, hey, look, all of us have a story. All of us come from something. Some people say it's good. Some people say it's bad. But at the end of the day, we all, human beings, need encouragement. We need to be able to see something or have someone lead us and show us it can be done and help us grow along the way. That's the reason why we're doing this podcast. So I love it that you're here. Let's talk about success, which is the final part of the focus round. So what would you attribute your success to if you could just kind of nail it down into one thing?
If I could nail it down to one thing, it would probably be my mother's teachings.
Okay. Mom.
Mom.
Dear mama.
Yeah, dear mama. Always.
It's a good jam, bro.
That's my jam.
Yeah.
Always be respectful.
Yep.
Always be kind. Like I said, I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters.
Yeah.
I mowed lawns as a kid. So
Sure.
I would have a couple of dollars. I remember I would go to the market around the corner, buy like a Snickers.
Where'd you hide the money, bro?
In my sock. Sometimes if it ever falls
That's
out
20,
your sock.
that's 20 hands, bro,
Man,
coming at you.
But I remember I would, because I had that grind early, I'd go like buy Snickers in Arizona frequently on my bike that I bought, right?
Yeah.
And I remember coming home one day and I was eating my Snickers and I wasn't sharing it. My mom took the Snickers, right? She crinkled it up and she flushed it down the toilet. I was probably like 14. She said, if you ever fucking bring something in this house, you don't split it into 11 pieces for your fucking sibling, I'm gonna beat your ass. So that's what she said. I remember this, right?
Yeah.
And so it was at that point that I knew that if I was gonna go buy something,
You better eat it at the store. I'm just kidding.
Well, you better finish it before you get I wasn't
off.
sharp enough to. I was too scared. My mom,
I'm just kidding, bro.
My mom had the fear of God in me,
Yeah.
right? And she's a strong woman. And so either make more money and buy 11 Snickers,
Yeah.
or with the 1 Snickers you have, split it. So literally, it used to go like this, like about, or same rule apply for my siblings. What happens is you open the Snickers, you get a bite, you get a bite, you get a bite, you get a bite. And you better not take a big bite because I'll tell mom
Yeah.
you're being greedy.
Yeah, I think sharing is really important. That's great that your mom had such an impact on you, Jake. You know, my kids, I teach them to share. We have a mantra, which is we share in this family.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think human beings can be greedy sometimes, can be short-sighted. This is mine. Kids learn that really young.
Right.
Mine.
Yeah.
But, you know, abundance mentality is the opposite of that. It's like, hey, look, there's going to be more of this. Or, hey, look, I'd rather you have half of this and we both have half
Yeah.
than me just have it all and you go hungry. So it's a mindset. I think it needs to be trained. And again, stoked for you that your mom sort of put that into you. I'm trying to instill that into my children because I think it's really important. I think giving is maybe the most valuable thing that exists in the world.
Yeah.
And not only for the person receiving, for the person doing it.
Yes.
There's nothing like the gift to be able to give. And I think there's levels to that too, because when you first start out, sometimes you do something because you're supposed to, because mom told you to, and you want to obey. So either because you want to avoid the stick
Right.
or you want to gain the carrot,
That's that switch.
right? So yeah, so that's generally sometimes why we start out doing something, but over time, what happens is if it's the right thing, it starts to become a part of who you are.
Your rule book.
And then eventually you're like, damn, I don't know what it feels like to not want to give. And selfishness feels odd to me.
Dope.
And you got to be trained by mentors to be like, hey, Jonathan, you shouldn't have given that. You know what I mean? So it becomes a different sort of, I'd rather be the guy who gave something, gave too much and took the hit than the guy who took too much and then I can't sleep at night. Like, for me, that's always kind of just been, and I got employees to this day from my old company, man, that literally I call them right now and they'll run through walls for me. No questions asked.
Yep.
100%. And that goes around too. And I think people can feel, if you're genuine, people can feel truthfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, if you're going to say the words, you better man up and do the thing. So I love that, bro. Giving is a really, as I go off on this tangent here, you could probably, feel my energy there, but I think it's really, really important. I think it's very undervalued. And I don't think that people explain to people enough that Jesus knew what he was talking about when he said it's more blessed to give than receive, because there is a blessing that comes with being able to give. And dude, last thought on that, it's also a blessing in general that I'm not the person with my hand out having to receive.
It's a blessing to be in.
I'm in a position to be able to give. So, yeah, man. I don't know if that's cliche or not,
let
but
me add one more
it's
piece.
powerful to me.
I want to add one other piece to that, because I told you I mowed lawns as a young man.
Yeah.
And so I lived in a court at one point. And so my mom used to make me mow Miss Lee's lawn, Miss Williams' lawn, all these lawns for free.
Was mom getting a cut?
No, she said those are
for free. Yeah.
These are our neighbors,
Oh, okay.
right?
She was she was building up the community.
They would help her out. They knew my mom was struggling. I didn't know as a
You
kid.
getting them referrals though? Tell them at church, Miss Williams.
Come on, Miss Williams. But I just remember at 12 years old, I had to go buy the gas that I would use for other lawns, and I'd have to mow all these lawns,
Right into the lost column.
If she ever even heard I took money from Miss Lee that was next door, I was back in trouble, but I had to mow these lawns. So growing up, that was part of my business experience where I didn't know how to accept money. So when I got into real estate investing and I started doing deals and partnerships, it was a little funny for me.
Yeah.
Right? And it's still something I'm growing into.
100%.
But I'll tell you what I did learn from it is by money never being a thing with people you're connecting with. That was the thing my mom was teaching me.
Yeah.
When I connect with people like you and many, many other people, they call it the jab, 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 right hook. What happens is you bring value. Gary V. You're on the money. And so what happens is when you put yourself in a space of value, right? And you're doing those things regardless of money, but you're supporting yourself and other people.
Yep.
That the money gonna come triple the bag.
100%. But to the point back about being comfortable about money, like for me, it's value. So if I have pressure tests, if I put my own money in, if I've pressure tested this, if I feel like I have enough experience, if I know it's a really good deal, what happens is those really good, juicy deals, I actually want to put more of my own equity in.
Right.
So just by default, that deal has more value. So why would I not feel comfortable asking someone else for money? Because if let's say I had $1 million to invest in a deal, and let's say that deal was going to make me $1 million, right? But let's say the deal cost $1.5 million. So I had $1 million to put in. That deal was going to make me $1 million, but it cost me 1.5. I'm 500 short, right? If I had more money, knowing that I was going to make $1 million and I wouldn't have to chop it up with anyone, am I putting my money in?
Absolutely.
100% I am. But maybe I don't have that much equity, which is often the case in real estate.
Right.
When you get really good at this job, you get more deals than you can actually do with time, energy, effort, and capital, right? But I've done the work where I know this is a juicy deal. I should feel very comfortable being like, hey, Jake, I got a juicy one, bro. I got cash tied up here. I can't buy it all the way. Come in with, whatever the number is, and I'll give you this much. I'm very comfortable having that conversation because there's a real value prop there for you and for me. I'm also comfortable saying, hey, Jake, do you know anyone else? If you don't have the capital available, etc., because the actually under the hood is value. It's not for some shitty deal. Right. You know what I mean? It's not so I can control someone else's money. It's because this is a source and a use for a great deal. I've been in the game long enough. I know what I'm looking at. My thesis is strong. I pressure tested this. I should feel very comfortable having my deals being open book pressure tested by anyone else too. I want my deals to be pressure tested. If I send you a deal and you're like, this, and this is wrong, great. You're making me better, bro. Iron sharpens iron. I want to know.
I don't disagree with that. I'm all about doing deals, bringing on partners, leveraging. I'm all about that. What I'm saying is I go back to relationships.
Yeah.
So you and I, we're connecting. We've been in communication.
I'm going to need that 500 wire, bro.
You got it.
Just kidding.
But when you start to connect with people like this, you might say, hey, you might see a deal in Sacramento you see off market, and it might be an hour from Sacramento, but it's 9 hours from you. And before you close in on that deal or you fly out here, you call Jake and say, Jake, I need you to drive an hour from your house to kind of last minute. Can you go check out this property before I lock it up?
Love it.
How
Network.
much you charge?
Network.
I'm not, there's no charge.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know some operators that operate across the country. Obviously, I know a bunch of wholesalers that operate across the country. You know, STR arbitrage guys. There's a bunch of different ways that guys move. I'm very niched in San Diego.
Right.
I've operated in other cities, but where I am in my career, where our business is, I am very, very niched in. But, you know, I'm flying up to NorCal in a couple weeks.
Right.
So, yeah, relationships, obviously, juicy deals. Maybe your capital's tied up there.
Right.
Right? We talked about new ways to source debt.
Right.
And, you know, there's different types of money down here for you, right? You're trying to raise capital for certain deals. If the deal pencils, the bigger your network, the more your opportunity to make money.
I know we got to get going. I just want to be
We do, man.
I know
We're really lagging.
Let me be clear in the message I'm just trying to communicate to any young man or young woman or anybody getting into real estate investing. Be careful what you charge. Be careful what you put a dollar value on, because everything doesn't have a dollar value. And I see different strokes for different folks. I see some people so oriented on how much I can squeeze out of every single thing and function I do. Some things money can't buy.
Agreed.
That's just how I roll.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's focusing right now with that comment on relationship over dollars, and dollars come as a result of the relationship, which I 100% subscribe to and live my life that way. But I also like to make money. So I have friends from people, you know, from the lowest of the low as far as economically. And I have people that are very, very high net worth. I treat them all equally. I love them the same. I think it's really important. I've talked about this, guys, to be kind, regardless of how much money someone has, you think they have, or doesn't have. You know, I value a joke over a dollar sometimes, but
Come on.
I pay dollars just to hear jokes. All right, so moving forward, let's talk about, you know, we'll kind of just tie into, you know, a mistake you made or a loss you took, and we'll just circle back to, you know, the time you did in incarceration. You said it felt terrible. You said in hindsight, it has, you know, been a place that you've kind of pulled from to keep perspective moving forward. I'm paraphrasing. You said something like that.
In English.
You're using
right.
you're using it as essentially in hindsight, it was a very low part of your life and your career or your life, and it gave you perspective when you got out of the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And you did not want to go back to that, so
Absolutely.
it helps you propel you forward.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now let's talk about sort of your career and what you're doing now as a full-time real estate investor. You're running your community,
Absolutely.
creative real estate investing 101.
Deal mastery 101.
So far off.
Don't worry.
It's
creative.
Deal Mastery 101, which is we discussed, guys, is a real estate investing community in Northern California, and you are the CEO and founder of that. Why did you want to get into mentorship and build the community, Jacob? You know, what was kind of the thought process that led you there, and why'd you get it started?
Yeah, well, it took me 4 years to get my real estate license because of my incarceration. I could never attain that license once I moved to Stockton. That was the natural progression. So me being entrepreneurial, because I couldn't get my license, I still just started investing. I saw some people investing, and I was like, look, if they never give me my license, I'm gonna buy my mom.
So did you start wholesaling, or
No.
how'd you start investing?
I was working in an office, kind of like an intern. I was just hanging out, having lunch, doing odd jobs for people. A lot of the agents that I work with wouldn't go to certain parts of town. The city I was from, I was like, that part of town's not tough. I'll go for you. I'm like $50, right? So that's how I kept the lights on. But staying in the hopes of next year I get my license. So for me,
So you were doing the grunt work in a real estate office,
oh man,
earning your stripes.
nobody ate dirt like me.
Wow,
I ate dirt.
that's a unique story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
I've actually never heard anyone doing that before.
Oh, no payment.
Wow.
And I was buying coffee for clients. But once again, if incarceration,
I will say this too, though. You are a really good listener. Like, you and I have had multiple conversations now, and I can, first of all, I've been in sales a really long time. I can distinguish a good salesperson from a bad person or bad salesperson relatively quickly. I can already tell you're good at sales because A, you're a good listener, and B, you say back to the person what they've said. And that is a sales technique, because when you're in sales, you understand that people love the sound of their own voice. You also want them to essentially feel like they came to the conclusion on their own if you're really good at sales. And so when you say something back that someone has said to you and you say it to them, they're like, yeah, that sounds really good. But a lot of people don't realize that the person saying to them is literally repeating what they said. I noticed that you do that, and I have to commend you because that is next level sales. But the reason why I bring that up is because maybe you learned some of that or had to really big ears while you were going through sort of that hard work, low man on the totem pole time in your life. Do you think that that's maybe true?
Yeah, and sure.
Soaking up the info, man.
Definitely a sponge. I don't see myself as a sales guy.
Really?
No.
Oh, man.
No. I see
Podcast is over.
I'm just kidding. I don't. But
we love salespeople at ADU Pals, and I love salespeople, brother.
Well, let me ask you. So people say this. Oh, my daughter, she talks a lot. She would do good in real estate sales.
Yeah. You would do good in sales. You have a great personality.
And the people that I know are in the top 1% don't have it because of personality.